Hello and welcome to liveprog.com. My name is Marcel Haster. What you're watching right now is my very first video review. And the album I'm going to present to you tonight is this album from the band IOEarth. I discovered this band on Facebook, and what I saw there about them, especially the YouTube clips, really got me interested in this band. I was under the impression of their music and I wanted to know more about them, so I got in touch with them and they sent me a copy of the album. And I've listened to it many times and I can say it's a beautiful album, definitely worth listening to. IOEarth is formed around Dave Curiton and Adam Gouch, who are high school friends and who have been, well, basically working on music since they were 12. But they never got to work together on a musical project. In fact, it took them until 2007, but then they started to work on what was going to be IOEarth. And their take on music was that they wanted to do something new, something that hasn't not been done before, something fresh and something different from the music that we already have. So they started working and they wrote a concept piece containing 3 movements, and they've divided those movements on 2 discs because, well, they wrote a little more music than can fit on 1 CD. So we have 2 CDs, in total 1.5 hours of amazingly good music. Now, what I have to say about this is that this is an album that is more of an adventure to listen to. It's not an album you play and you like it and you leave. No, it's something you have to give some time, because there is a lot to explore, and it's also quite different, as I said, from, well, the prog we know. If you think prog, you think maybe Marillion, Yes, Pendragon, IQ, Arena, all those kinds of bands. Well, IOEarth is not exactly like those bands. They are making a different kind of music. In the background you can already hear some music, and, well, I'm going to play you a couple of tracks from the album, or at least small parts, where you can hear what IOEarth is all about. And I hope in the end that you will like it enough to give them some more attention, maybe check out their MySpace or their YouTube, listen to the tracks, and of course buy the album and support this amazing band. Now, as I said, it's basically set up around Dave and Adam, but they have invited some other people to play on the album, and after that they even formed a live band, and they're performing a lot these days, so if you have a chance to see them, I would suggest you do that. Now, the first track I want to play you, apologies, it's the first time, so is this one. It's called Storyteller, and there are a few things you can hear in this track. First of all, the band has a live drummer, Richard Curiton, and he plays drums and percussion throughout the album, and that's so much better than a drum computer, because a drum computer is cold and doesn't add any warmth or any, well, live feel to the music. Well, in this case it really sounds great. As you also can hear the guitar. Well, if you listen to this album, there are a lot of songs with some really good guitar on it, and all I can say is, David Gilmour, you have some serious competition. Just listen to this. Now, despite the 2 CDs and the 1.5 hours of music, there are surprisingly few songs which are actually sung. And yet, 3 different vocalists appear on the album. Steve Balsamo, maybe the most familiar name. He done some bands like The Stories, maybe you've heard of them. And he also played in musicals like Jesus Christ Superstar. And I must say, if I'll show you a little piece of his singing, you will understand what I mean, that I say he is really a good singer. I'm going to fast forward a little bit and then give you a little example of his vocals. As you can hear, again, a different mood. It's more ambient. And IOEarth finds a way to put in all kinds of influence, all kinds of, well, kinds of music, and they put them together, and in the end they get a beautiful album. So really well done. As you can hear, the beautiful voice of Steve Balsamo. If I should compare the influences which you hear on IOEarth's debut album, I think a good reference point is Mike Oldfield. Especially if you take an album like Songs from a Distant Ocean, if that's the correct term. My apologies if I got it wrong. Then you have a very good idea of this music. But it's, as I said, it's a lot of different influences. It's not just ambient, but it's also kinds of world music, rock influences, definitely. They have some jazz influences, and they managed to blend it all together to a very, very tasty album to listen to. And well, they can also improvise and give a little more of a, well, just listen for yourself. Again, I'll fast forward a little bit. Here you also hear some piano, you hear the saxophone, and which is interesting, on this album they also use a flugelhorn, which I find a very intriguing instrument to use on an album. And well, you don't hear it much, but then again, this is prog, so anything can go. And they move swiftly from ambient to rock, and they even go classical with this song, which is more, well, classical music, maybe even musical, but it's again very interesting how they do it. Now the song, as I said, that I found on YouTube was found on the second disc, the third track. And again, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. This is the longest track on the album. It's called Harmonix. Check it out on YouTube. You will see what I mean. This song is a very lengthy guitar intro. Which is about 2 minutes long. Now, of course, it's not just about the guitar. As I said, there's a lot of other things. As you can hear, the piano. There are some really good keyboard parts on this album. And, well, it has everything you would like to hear in a good album. Just a little different than what you're used to. And fast forward a little bit. Sometimes the vocals may be a little different, but then again I must say that IOEarth is an album that will take you out of your comfort zone. It is something that you may, well, find difficult at first to listen to, but all I can say is listen to this album, give it time, and you will discover that it's in fact a very beautiful album. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. There's nothing more I can say. All I can do is check out their music and you will see how good they are, and I hope you will be able to see a live show one day. Well, this was my first review. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry if I made any small mistakes. I'm going to work on doing it better, but it's new for me and it's new for you, and I'm looking forward to do one quite soon again. This time it will be PB2 Plastic Soup, so I hope you will be watching then as well. For now, goodbye.